So we are back here on the Choose954 podcast, special Hollywood showcase series with some of the resident artists from our second Zero Empty Spaces location here in beautiful downtown Hollywood on Hollywood Boulevard, ahead of our grand opening reception on Thursday, November the 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. If you didn't know about Choose954, we started a social movement to cultivate culture and community here in Broward County, keeping people in the know with all the great things that are going on in an effort to make this a better place to live, not just a better place to vacation. The point of the podcast is to connect you with amazing people like them that are doing incredible things in the community, and they're definitely bringing a lot of art, life, and color to beautiful downtown Hollywood. This podcast is sponsored by the Hollywood CRA, who does amazing work to bring the community together in the beach and the downtown corridor, to keep people to know, and provide high caliber programming from the art walks to Hollyweird to the St. Patrick's Day Parade and a bunch of other things in between. To find out more about all their great initiatives, you can go to floridashollywood.org or Florida's Hollywood on Facebook. But without much further ado, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourself at a high level, starting with Miss Kiki.
Hi, my name is Kiki Hammond. I was born in a family full of artists in Brazil, and I traveled a lot, during my childhood and teenage years. So I first came across art with my grandfather, who was a painter, an oil painter. So I guess you can say that I was raised with the smells and scents of turpentine. That's probably, the scent that I recall the most and how I connect with my family. So early on, I became a professional illustrator. I illustrated for several magazines and children's books. As a matter of fact, I wrote my own children's books. I have a whole series of illustrated books. And that eventually led me to fashion. I don't even know why, but I became a fashion designer for the longest time. But really, I fell in love with the drawing part of the business, with the croquis and creating beautiful dresses. So all of that influence rubbed on me. And I like to say that I still do that to a point. I still illustrate with my mind. I am very influenced by the Japanese anime. So I paint big eyes on dogs, on people, on things, and art that makes people happy.
Amen. Well put.
Oh, thank you.
And how'd you tell us about a little bit about yourself and how you got started in art, Ivan?
Oh, okay. So my name is Ivan Recalde, 27 years old. I originally was born in New Jersey, but I'm definitely a Hollywood local. I spent 20 plus years of my life here. I've been drawing since I was about 4 years old. The first thing I remember drawing was actually a copy of one of my dad's portfolio sketches. He's a big influence for me, and he's pretty much why I got into art. And that's pretty much where it started. Eventually I went to school for it, got my bachelor in fine arts from New World School of the Arts. It's a great school in Miami. It's run by University of Florida, so my degree is issued from them. I applied to them and whatnot. Before I came here to Zero Empty Spaces, I was in Boca doing framing and fine art full time. But once I found out about this program, it just made sense. I mean, I've been local here a long time. I've seen a lot of storefronts come and go, unfortunately, on Hollywood Boulevard. And this is definitely a great opportunity, I believe.
Awesome. And how about yourself, Manuel?
Yes, my name is A.E. Manuel. I've been doing art since I was 5 years old. I can remember my moment when I got in touch with art. It was actually during Thanksgiving time. We had to do like hand paintings, and so we had to do like the hand turkeys. And I remember doing a hand turkey and mixing the colors, and started playing, dabbling the colors, and that's why I gained my love for art. I've been doing it since I was 5 years old, so you're talking over 30 some odd years. My love for arts resonated that moment, and it grew and grew and grew. I got into sports also, before I got into sports as well. Stopped doing sports, and my first love was art. So I remember sometimes I was in games thinking about what I'm going to create, what I'm going to paint, and how I want to paint, and the design. As far as different artists that influenced me, thinking about pictures of Basquiat and different types of realms of art that I have love for. As time went on, I did go to school for fine arts. I didn't graduate, however, but I still got a chance to meet a lot of great influential people in my life, and got a chance to also to open myself up to different realms of art. Like I said, before I got here, Zero Space, Empty Spaces, I was creating work at home. So after I met, Evan, he was telling me about the empty spaces, and it was very interesting because I would like to get more to know the different artists, different works, and also I'm also a fan of art first, so which was also was a winner for me, so being in a space where you meet different artists, different backgrounds, and you get to talk about art, so it's like a haven place for me, so as time goes on, I want to get to learn more about all my comrades.
Yeah.
So it's been a great experience thus far.
Awesome.
Great experience.
We're glad to have you. Glad to have all you guys. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the Zero Empty Spaces initiatives thus far, myself and my partner, Mr. Andrew Martineau, are the principals of the Unitas Group. The Unitas Group is the company behind Choose954, Art Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week, and a few other initiatives to support the arts and cultivate culture and community here in Broward County. Throughout all of those experiences, we've obviously met a lot of artists, and we've met a lot of business people, developers, commercial realtors, and whatnot. And two prevailing conversations kept coming up. One, the artist would say, where can I get affordable studio space? And two, a lot of developers and commercial real estate people would come to us and say, hey, can you do cool stuff in my space? So with my partner's background being in shopping center retail development, he's developed a lot of vacancy strategies. He's developed commission-free art galleries in malls and a lot of things to fill the gaps. We came up with this initiative to activate vacant commercial real estate on 30-day flex renewable lease term bases, so month to month. We assume all liability through our company, the Unitas Group, and we pay the water, the electricity on behalf of the artist, provide general liability insurance for the property owner, and we activate the space. We do a build out, we market it, we do some public relations around it, social media, we do a grand opening reception. Our one in Hollywood is this Thursday, November the 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. Our first one on Las Olas was very well received and attended. Hundreds of people, if not maybe 1,000 people came out. And it's interesting, there's a lot of things happening in the art world. Art exhibit openings aren't the same as what they used to be. But it was so interesting to have all these people come out for the opening of a studio space initiative. And I think because there's something different, there was a buzz and energy behind it. So we're super glad to continue expanding that throughout Broward County, throughout South Florida, to any place where there's vacant commercial real estate, where we can make more and more affordable artist studio spaces available for artists, because there's no shortage of artists that are needing spaces to create, and cities don't like vacant commercial real estate. They want to have feet in the street. They want to have activated spaces. So with that being said, for you guys as artists, what has the transition kind of been like from just talk through where you were creating before and kind of how it's been so far since you moved into the space here in Hollywood?
Yeah, okay. Well, I've been actually creating everywhere. On my living room, my dining room, I basically took over the whole entire house. So every little corner of the house became my thing. And having said that, I had art hanging from every wall. I've been creating on my boat and everywhere that I could find the space. And this is just amazing that I was able to get to work close to where I live, to be in the community that I'm used to. Sharing the space with amazing artists. We became a family like the first day that we met. So there's just an energy that happens when you put artists together with a purpose. And this is what we're all doing here. We're having fun, we're working, we're being seen, working. The community has opened their arms to us. Mm-hmm. We're so grateful for making this happen, you and Andrew, for us, and we're keeping your space.
Amen.
We're making it fun.
You're activating it. I know you have a little bit of a different background from also the framing side of things, but where were you creating before, and how's the transition kind of been like for you?
Like I mentioned before, I was originally based in Boca, and I've always lived in Hollywood. So just the trek alone from here to Boca was an hour and a half, give or take. So that alone right there was just heartbreaking every single day. All that time that I could have been painting. And not only that, I'm not a local to Boca. I mean, it's in South Florida, but I definitely identify with Hollywood. And like I said, I've seen a lot of things come and go through Hollywood. And unfortunately, I don't know why a lot of those businesses couldn't stick. But hopefully through this initiative, it'll open up a lot of new businesses that are looking for space in Hollywood, to just let them know that this is a good spot to be and to invest in this area. Because like I said, a lot of things have come and gone in a very short amount of time.
Amen. And no city is as absent of vacant space. Even I'm from Coral Springs, and I went to speak at the City Hall City Commission meeting, and Coral Springs had vacant space right across the street from City Hall.
Yeah.
So it's a problem that every city has to deal with, and we look at it as we're creative problem solvers, and this is a way that we're able to creatively solve a problem. If you didn't know, artists traditionally, except for the blue chip fine artists, don't have tons of excess capital to commit to buying a space or leasing out a commercial retail space at a 1, 5, 10-year lease. So by being able to afford artists the flexibility of month to month, while most of the spaces don't have the long-term commitment, as we acquire more and more spaces, once the space gets leased, we're able to move artists to other locations, which we just did in our Las Olas location, moving from 914 Las Olas, which got leased, to 888 Las Olas, because thankfully the Las Olas company loves what we're doing, activating their spaces, putting feet in the street, giving people that are going out to eat something to do after they go out to dinner and up and down the Boulevard. Manuel, I guess we're very fortunate to have you having the unique experience of having been in the Bakehouse complex before.
Yes.
So kind of, how has the transition been like for you, having been in such an amazing initiative like Bakehouse before, transitioning out of there, and how's that kind of been like for you?
It's been great. Like I said, I've been here for a week now, and the welcoming, the love, and as far as the camaraderie that the other artists have, as far as sharing supplies, sharing paints, and as far as sharing framing, sharing ideas and concept. And it's only the first week for me. So I can only imagine how it was, how it be, as far as years to come for this initiative itself. At the Bakehouse, it was a very good experience for me. It was a lifelong dream for me to have my own studio space. So it was just like, I was more odd than anything, because you got a chance to meet different artists as well. But everything was kind of, it was kind of closed off. It wasn't as open as it is here. It's very more intimate here. Only time we get to see different, at the point where I was able to talk to different artists is when, we were doing an exhibit or a showing. And at that time, I was the youngest artist there. And so other artists, they was pretty much older, but they was very, very genuine. But it was more sectioned off because, as you know, they have the doors, so you close your door, so you kind of isolated from the other artists. The cell phone, you clean out the supplies or anything like that. But here, it's more open, it's more welcoming, and it's far. I love the fact that, you get a chance to walk through without feeling, segregated. It's just like that's what the thing is. Just feel it's open space. It's not. Bakehouse is wonderful. It's wonderful, but it's not. It's very intimate as far as with the 5 artists here. Very intimate. We feel like family already. To me, I feel like it's family already because we sharing an intimate space, and we sharing the love of creativity, and I'm in awe. I'm a fan of art first, and I've seen Kiki work, and and Mr. Evans work, and Adia pouring, and it was just mesmerizing. I was more of a fan than anything because they talk about my work is nice, whatever. I'm like but I just love the different styles, the camaraderie, and that's what I love about it.
Amen. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the Bakehouse Complex, or really artist studio spaces in general in South Florida, so the Bakehouse is been heavily donor funded. It was in Wynwood before Wynwood was a thing. It's been there for 40 plus years at least. I think Sal Zagami was there in the 80s. But it's been heavily funded, and it's a brick and mortar compound in Wynwood where they do have affordable artist studio spaces around $2 a square foot. We really never had anything like that in Broward County. And there's only the two arts districts in downtown Fort Lauderdale. There's Fat Village, where there's 12 artist studios, and most of those artists have been there for a while. Some of those people have been there since literally the beginning of Fat Village, Flag Arts and Technology Village. And then there's Mass District, and Mass District and Fat Village, unfortunately, are both going through some changes. There is a development boom happening in downtown Fort Lauderdale, and these warehouse districts in industrial areas that never really had much to offer now are very desirable for developers, and they are going through the process of being redeveloped. So unfortunately, it's displacing artists, and there, of course, with these things, there's a gentrification element. We won't get into that right now. But if artists don't have places to create, what happens? Artists have to go other places, literally relocate to pursue their craft, their passion, their creative outlet or profession. And that shouldn't have to be the case in a place like Broward County. In Broward County, a well-cultured, heavily populated tourist destination with no shortage of money and wealth, artists should be able to pursue their craft, their passion, their creative outlet, and have spaces to create. And nobody wants to live in a community where there's no art, where there's no color, where there's no life and vibrancy on the walls and in the community. The City of Hollywood and the Community Redevelopment Agency, the CRA, has done a phenomenal job with the Downtown Hollywood Mural Project, curated by Jill Weisberg, our neighbor here at Storefront Art Studios. They've added over 27 world-class murals by huge names, local names alike, literally to bring color to the life in the walls of downtown Hollywood, to make Hollywood a true arts destination. And we're glad to support them by adding more artist studios to the downtown corridor, to give people in the community and attendees of the art walks more things to do, to put more feet in the street. So all these things kind of go together. Nobody wants to live in a place where you just go to work, go home, rinse, repeat. You need to have a play element of the live, work, play balance, and the arts definitely supports that. And we're going to support that this Thursday during the grand opening of our Zero Empty Spaces location in downtown Hollywood from 7 to 9 p.m. We also do that every third Saturday night of the month, where I lead a guided tour of the downtown Hollywood Art Walk for free, thanks to the folks from the Hollywood CRA at 7 p.m. You can find out more if you type in the Choose954 guided tour of the Art Walk. You'll get to meet the resident artists here who are here during the Art Walk. We'll bring you in. They'll get to share about their space, about their work. But enough about us. I actually would like you guys to tell us a little bit about your work. Manu, you got a piece behind you right here. So tell us a little bit about your craft, your work, and what we're looking at here.
My style of work is I like to do realism. With this piece right here is done in acrylics. Like I said, I love to create as far as pieces that will, creating an environment and create conversation. I love to create conversational pieces. And the reason that, as you said, as far as me being in the Bakehouse, I did the first one of my first exhibits there, and part of it, as far as with the gallery, and with that is, I love to sort of see like other artists' work hang as well, and just like sharing. The only thing I'm doing is sharing myself, exposing myself, my innermost feelings, and giving each piece that I do 105%. So it's a small window. It's not a small window, it's a big window to my soul, and giving the audience, as far as the patrons, something to look at, something to appreciate. And I'm a fan of art first. I'm a fan of art. And this piece right here is done. It was actually a live painting. The young lady, and then she was very, very. Her essence was very awesome. It was very the calmness of her spirit was very radiant. Silent. She was very silent, but it was very radiant. And I wanted to capture it on canvas. Just capture it. Just actually going back to what I love to do, just like as far as creating, bringing her energy on canvas. So that was my main goal.
And one of the things we connected over with your work when we first met at the Art Walk in Mass District was not just our love of the arts, but our love of jazz music, music in general. But you have a series and a ton of pieces reflecting some of the jazz greats that you guys should be able to see in the future here at Manual Studio. Ivan, tell us a little bit about some of your work here.
Yeah, of course. So right above me, and all the way down behind Kiki, I've got 3 works here. I was classically trained. Like I said, I went to New York School of the Arts, and they do discipline you. We're talking like 100 still lifes for homework. Like, they really beat us up and made sure we knew how to draw, paint, sculpt. And that's another great thing about the school is they let you branch out and develop into your own artist. Especially nowadays, you can't really be a one-trick pony as far as an artist. You should be able to branch out and explore. And you can see here, there's several different mediums. We have charcoal, oil, and acrylic over here with the messy. But what's not seen here, and what I definitely love the most, is abstract work, especially large-scale abstract work. A lot of charcoal pouring, acrylic pouring as well. And you'll be able to see that during the opening. I'm gonna bring some more stuff in.
And we're actually in like the lobby reception area right now of the space in the front window. So not everybody's work is reflected within the screen here, but Kiki brought a piece from her studio, which she's going to share here as well. Thank you. Teamwork.
Yeah. Teamwork.
Awesome.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry guys, it's a big piece. A lot of my work is big in canvas. I like to paint art that invites people, that doesn't feel intimidated. I do the big eyes. Like I said before earlier in this podcast, the anime influence is really big on my work. And I don't forget that art is always entertaining. So I like to bring this playfulness to my work. This piece specifically talks about that. The heart is for the love, and sometimes when all fades away, there's always love. So this piece talks about that. Sometimes your world might be gray for a little while, you might be going through stuff, but love is always colorful and bright, and here she is to tell that story on a canvas.
Amen. And then if you want to, I guess just, if you want
I'll just put it to the side.
Yeah, and if you notice in the top right corner of the screen, we have some works by Janet Rodowski. She does some beautiful tile works. You might know her, she's a girl about town. And we have some pouring works from Nada, who goes by the artist name of Art from the Heart by Nada. She has workshops, classes, teaches people how to pour, a lot of art healing, stuff for the kids, and she's going to do some of those workshops out of here. So we're super excited to have 5. You don't have to be a full-time professional artist to be in the space, but we want to be able to make the space available to full-time professional artists who are pursuing their craft, who are pursuing their profession. And you don't. There isn't a skill requirement. You don't have to be, a blue chip, fine art master. It could be for an emerging artist, an established artist. I think we have a nice blend of artists here in the space. I guess in closing, what would be one thing that you would want the community to know, or somebody out in the community who maybe isn't into the arts? Maybe they're not savvy, maybe they don't go to the art walk, maybe they wouldn't have stumbled in here before, but they stumbled onto this podcast and they found it interesting to listen to this part. What's one thing you would want them to know about the arts, your arts, Zero Empty Spaces, Hollywood? What's something you'd like to share?
Well, I like to say that in general, people are very scared of the arts. They're afraid to come through our doors for some reason. So we've been opening the doors and welcoming them in. We benefit from their visit as much as they do from looking at our work. And we have to break this taboo. You know, we're here. It's so rare for people to actually be able to meet and greet the artists and get to hear the stories behind our paintings. Nobody else is doing that. And the fact that we can do this, welcome them in, sit down if you need to. Here's the story behind this painting. You know, artists need an audience as well.
Amen.
So this is like both hands. They get to meet us and hang out with some very cool artists. They get to see the space activated, and we get to tell our stories and break this ice and bring people closer to the arts.
Amen. Well put. Anything else you want to add?
No, definitely. I would love, especially our community here in Hollywood, to remember that art is critical to any community, really. We can see what happened in Linwood, how a space that was essentially a dead zone of wholesale warehouses, pretty much something that no one would ever drive to unless you're trying to buy wholesale shoes or something, or fabrics. You go there now, I mean, you have a Ducati shop next to a taco shop, next to a coffee shop, next to 20 galleries. Like, it's insane. And that's all because of art.
Amen.
Pretty much nothing else. So, with that being said, we cannot forget about the arts. Just the murals alone have changed this whole area, and we're definitely going to change it even more.
Amen.
And like as they said earlier, you know, just embracing art, you know, understanding art, and we are artists. We are not, you know, just like you know, as artists, yes, we create, but we humans also. You know, it's not like, you know, we're gonna bite you or nothing like that. You know, our artwork is not gonna hit you across the head. You know, come in, talk to the artists. Yes, we talk about Picasso, the great artists, and the ones before us, you know. But here it is, you have your modern day Picasso, you have your modern day Basquiat, you have your modern day Michelangelo. Like for Evan right here, if you look at his work, I mean, it's so much, it gives you, I'm not calling you that, I'm mentioning you with, you know what I'm saying? It's like you look at, if you look at his style, you know, it will give you that feel of Michelangelo. You know, and like with myself, I'm a fan of Vermeer, you know, and I don't want to give you that. I don't want to say, okay, I want to say, you know, he's a Picasso. No, it's good to be mentioned with, not compared to. So, I mean, you have, like, as far as the Kiki work, you know, just wonderful. Just as far as, you know, it's something different and grabs you, and artists, our different styles and creativity grabs us. And we want to share. And this is our window. This is our open doors to share. Come enjoy it. Come, you know, talking to every artist have a story. With my stories I share with Kiki, I stopped doing art I would sketch every now and then, but I just stopped doing art for 4 years. And I'm getting back into, when I met Evan, I was getting back into the swing of doing art. I stopped doing art for 4 years. I became a caregiver for my parents. So they became my first priority, you know. Art was a love, I have it, you know, but as far as my parents and me giving them back something they gave to me, they gave me that avenue that I can create, I can explore the paints, and you know, they purchased those items for me, you know. And so with that being said, is coming to this, as far as this location here in Hollywood, you know, as far as, you know, get to different restaurants and to see the murals and be our artists that's here, that's real. We're not, you know, yes, we've been in magazines and publications, but you have a chance to actually come and talk to us, come and interact, come to do different classes, enjoy the moment, live in the moment, you know, and don't just be afraid. We're not gonna bite you. So that being said is, you know, just enjoy the art. Just enjoy the art.
You bring up a good point. I've noticed from my time leading tours of the art walk, so many people, you know, realistically, they just don't interact with artists, especially in their studio or at a show so often. So by having this be open to the public, it kind of mitigates some of that. This is not a stuffy place. This is not a high-end art gallery. This is a creative space. This is a raw space. So I think that it makes art more accessible, regardless of the prices, which are actually very accessible, as these are all local, independent artists. You know, it kind of makes it so that anybody could appreciate. And support for the arts can come in so many different ways, from a like or a follow on social media, to telling a friend to telling a friend, to commissioning an artist to do a piece of work, to anything else in between. You want somebody to paint live for an event, which is a very common thing now, to have an artist painting live during an event. That's a way that you could support the arts. Arts are one of the first things to get cut, unfortunately. So by finding inexpensive ways to be able to support the arts, there are countless benefits to having arts in our community. I think the latest NEA numbers show for every $1 spent or invested in the arts, there's a $9 to $12 return on those dollars. So artists are able to make those dollars stretch so far in the community in terms of economic impact and bigger impacts beyond that. I'm not an artist, but art has given me so much in my life. It's changed my life. It's changed my community. It's changed the art fair world by the art fair we created with Art Fort Lauderdale, the Art Fair on the Water, without me ever having picked up a paintbrush. So who knows what the arts could do for you, let alone, you see these walls? These walls were vacant and bare before. And look at them now. They're filled with phenomenal art made by talented local artists. And think about to yourself, do you have blank walls in your space? Do you need some life and color? So if you want to find out more, you can join us this Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. for the opening of the studio space. Where can they find you on social media, on the internet?
I'm everywhere. So
What's your handle?
yes, on Instagram is probably where I post the most. So it's going to be my last name plus the word art, which is HAMANNART.
Awesome.
I'm pretty fortunate. Not a lot of people have my last name, so you can look me up with Ivan Recalde. That's the last name RECALDE on pretty much across the board. My handle is Ivan Recalde. Pretty simple. My website's ivanrecalde.com. Pretty straightforward.
He's Ivan. I'm Evan.
Yeah,
Evan's
pretty close. Yeah, Ivan and Evan. Yeah,
At Choose954.
Yep.
Where can they find you?
And you can find me at AE Fine Arts, AE Fine Art 05. That's my handle for Instagram. Website is www.aemanuelfineart.com. Yeah, that's my handle.
And we'll put it in the comments of the page here. One thing for those, if you tuned in, you found this interesting, you're still listening to this part, you heard us talking about Wynwood a little bit. I think it'd be good for people that maybe don't know how Wynwood became what Wynwood is, and how Wynwood has literally transformed Miami, the art world, the street art world. It's become the street art capital of the United States, potentially the world. So Wynwood is a commercial warehouse district. It's an industrial zone. It's right on the border of Overtown. It had traditionally been a very blighted, dilapidated space. And many, many moons ago, artists, my partner, Mr. Andrew Martineau being one of them, went into these warehouses and they could rent a warehouse. Andrew tells the story, they would chip in $100 and have a warehouse for them to be able to paint and create in. So what started to happen as a result of that? Collectors, who also are investors and real estate developers and business people, started visiting these artist studio spaces. And for better or worse, and it's a different conversation about where Wynwood has become now, but people started buying up warehouses in Wynwood. They started developing them, and places that Andrew used to chip in $100 to paint in are now selling for $40 million. And it's unfortunate because, yes, the true essence of the local independent artist unfortunately has kind of subsided, as now there are, people capitalizing off that, and commercial businesses and other things are going in there. And as with any area, some galleries close, some galleries open. The prices are very high, and local independent artists can't afford to be there. But nobody can argue the impact for the good and for the betterment of the arts that Wynwood has had, so much to the point that they call it the Wynwood effect. Now, Zero Empty Spaces is not going to have that Wynwood effect. We're going into retail spaces that are vacant. We're not displacing anybody. We're hoping to be able to bring tenants for commercial real estate spaces, but we're not increasing the rent for the whole Boulevard by having artist studio spaces. We're simply providing affordable studio spaces for artists to be able to create in a place, unfortunately, for better or worse. Broward County is one of the least affordable counties for housing in the country. What if we can make Broward County one of the most affordable places for artists to create and make this a destination for artists to create? And with the efforts of myself and my partner Andrew, since we've created the signature and only 4-day annual art fair in Broward County, we now have the ability to have artists create in spaces, put it in a world-class revolutionary art fair that takes place in luxury mansions on the water that's only accessible via boat, something that can't be done anywhere else, Art Fort Lauderdale, the art fair on the water. And we're now even working to create more opportunities for artists with an art leasing division for all these businesses that keep coming to us. Hey, we want to put local art on the wall, but we can't buy it. No problem. We do a great leasing program where we give a certain value of artwork to a local business. We make it available for 3% of the total value of the artwork on a 3-month minimum commitment. So we work with a local spa that wanted to support local artists. They have artwork on their walls, and a lobby, a hotel, a coffee shop, whoever. So we're really, really excited about the impact that we're making in the community with the Zero Empty Spaces initiative. If you know somebody, or if you have a vacant commercial space, or know somebody that has a vacant commercial space, don't hesitate to reach out to us at info@zeroemptyspaces.com. You can go on the website. You can reach out to us. We're an open book. We're super excited for our grand opening of our second location here in downtown Hollywood, Thursday, November the 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. There'll be light bites and refreshments. We got support from our friends at Flora Fine Foods. Camp Cocktail Bar down the street is going to be providing some cocktails, and you're in for a very special treat. I don't think I told you guys this yet. My dear friends from the beautiful music duo Vase are going to be here with a special live performance. It's a very eclectic sound. She has a beautiful voice, and my man Trace, one of the most talented producer DJs who also plays the trumpet live as well. It'll be something like you've never seen before. So we hope you join us. It's a free event. If you can't make it Thursday, we'll be here every third Saturday night for the Art Walk in downtown Hollywood, where I lead the Choose954 guided tour of the Art Walk for free, thanks to support from the Hollywood CRA. You can find out more at floridashollywood.org, at Florida's Hollywood on Facebook and Instagram as well. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. Don't hesitate to reach out to them. We appreciate your interest and support of the arts. And let us know why you choose 954. You can feel free to email me at evan@choose954. And we look forward to seeing you here in beautiful downtown Hollywood. Take care.
Bye-bye.